Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Jason Saitta here with VNN for Rig Review. I'm here today with Tommy Kessler. How you doing, Tommy?
Doing great, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. Thanks for having us in your comfy room.
Absolutely. Everything's kind of packed in, but I think it should be fun.
It works. It works. So we're gonna be talking about his rig today. That's the whole point of this show. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with the amplifier because that's been the most consistent thing in the rig overall.
Yeah.
I've had the same amp since 8th grade. It's the first version of the Tiny Terror that they made. I've played newer ones since then, and my conspiracy theory is that they've made them worse because I've played newer ones and they don't sound like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never like even considered changing amps. I had a couple Fenders before this, but I love this thing.
That's just the 1x12, right?
Yeah, I have a 2x12 back home in St. Louis, but
Okay.
it weighs like 800 pounds. And again, I don't have a whole lot of space here.
Yeah.
But 112 sounds incredible.
Right.
I forgot what speaker's in it, but yeah, it all works really well together.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I'm a big fan.
So what goes into it?
Yeah, I'm gonna start over here first, because I'm only gonna play one guitar, so
Okay.
I'll show you the other two I'm not using. This one was a graduation present. It's a Jazzmaster, but it's not a Fender. The body was made by MJT Guitars, which he does like custom relic bodies. So it's like late placid blue over Olympic white onto natural, they relicked it.
Okay.
So it's got two finishes. Pickups are Porter pickups, it's got a mastery bridge. Tailpiece is just Fender American Standard. And I think the neck is technically a Squire that they just put the Fender logo on.
Really?
Yeah, which is funny. Because the guy built it, put it on Reverb, and I got it as a graduation present. It's got a little Jack White sticker on the back, which is nice. But yeah.
So that hasn't been legitimately road worn.
No,
That's
this
a
was
finished
relic.
job. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I need to get it set up because the action's weird right now. But it sounds amazing. And both my other guitars have humbuckers, so it's kind of a cool change of pace. My main one, which this is the one I've had the longest, it wasn't my first electric, but it was like the first one that I invested in. It was originally a Les Paul Studio, which again is one of their lower end Les Pauls. Still pretty expensive for like late elementary school. My parents and I worked out a payment plan. But again, this one I completely gutted pretty much everything down here. So like it used to have Gibson stock humbuckers, but I swapped them out for a Seymour Duncan Jazz in the neck and a Super Distortion in the bridge, which is a little more high output.
I love Super Distortion.
I know, yeah. It sounds great, and it's way more open sounding than I thought. But obviously added the Bigsby, added a roller bridge like on the Gresh. There's a little less resistance there. And then the coolest thing is underneath all of this, the wiring, all the pots and capacitors, I got a pre-wired setup, so it's a replica of what the wiring was like in a 59 Holy Grail Les Paul.
Really?
So it's, yeah, supposedly an exact replica of the same pots and everything. And like when I replaced it, it opened up the sound so much. Like I didn't realize it made that big a difference, but now I can actually use the volume knobs and not lose high end.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
And they're not coil tapped, are they?
Nope, they're not coil tapped. It's just the humbucker. Again, that's the only single coil one I have if I need that, but
Right.
this tends to be the standard. And yeah, I'll use it.
And that's your favorite to use?
Oh, yeah, it just feels the best. I mean, as much as I love the sound of the Fender, it definitely feels very thin, like neck-wise, which I'm not a huge fan of. And the Gresh is the opposite problem to where it's just so bulky. This is kind of a nice in-between, and honestly, the Jazz is a lot brighter than I thought it would be, so it's kind of a good in-between between like the fattest and brightest sounding things I have. And I just like Gibson a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you not? Can we hear something?
Yeah. My Les Paul.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'll kind of walk through all the fun jazz happening down here. This is a Paul Cochran Timmy overdrive. And then also always on is the Ghost Echo, since there's no built-in reverb, and I love reverb. Electro-Harmonix Ghost Echo. It's like a darker sounding spring reverb, and what's cool is you can adjust the attack of the reverb. So I don't know if you can hear that. There's a delay between.
Yeah, the pre-delay.
Yeah, which I really like that.
And you don't have it set up on the effects return, do you?
No, this doesn't have an effects loop.
It does not?
So
Okay.
everything's going straight into the amp.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I'll walk through all of this nonsense. So it goes from a tuner, TU3, which
Classic.
again, always had that into a fuzz factory, which goes into the soul food. This is acting as a clean boost, just the beginning of the circuit. So like,
Gotcha. Pretty low drive on that.
yeah, I mean, it brightens it up a little bit, so it's kind of simultaneously boosting the treble and the volume.
Okay.
So yeah, basically. Just enough. I mean, I think it makes a huge difference.
I think so too.
And again, the soul food, like, I think it's like $60. Like, for what it costs, it's my favorite overdrive easily. I always recommend it to people. Because like the Timmy, it's like $130 new, but they don't make a whole lot. So you have to wait a while.
Limited run?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it still is. Back when I got it, I had to get it used because it was so backed up.
Interesting.
So if you're patient, get that. But if not, the soul food's really solid. It just has less EQ options, and the clipping's the same, but it's supposedly a clone. So it's pretty transparent. Both of them are.
Yeah, I've got the JHS modded version of the soul food, and it's great.
I love it so much.
And after that,
we got the Maletto Helium, which is basically just like, I mean, it's a little different. It's modeled after like an old like Octavio sort of octave fuzz pedal. It's a little less predictable, but like I've dialed it in to where it's fairly straightforward. Or you can turn on the phaser and get crazy. And like this one too is pretty good at responding to like pick dynamics. So
wow, it does pick up on that attack.
yeah, which is rare because like the Fuzz Factory doesn't at all because it's just insane and hates anything you put into it.
Yeah.
But the Helium is really good at being responsive, which is cool. And if you want to get really crazy, I've got the Nano Pog. I used to have the Pog too, but I only really used one setting on it, so I sold it for this, which is just adding the octave below, so you can get really insane. It's like the fattest, or if you want to do neck pickup too. Just, yeah, really fat sounding, or just. Because back when I was in a band in high school, I was the only guitarist. So adding the lower octave just like thickened it up a whole lot to where it didn't sound as empty.
Yeah.
So anytime we played a riff, I'd pretty much turn that on so it sounded like two guitars.
I understand completely. That's great.
Yeah. That's going into the Timmy, which I kind of talked about. Always on, had it forever, love it so much. Into the Super Bolt, which is a clone of a 70s style Supro amp, which I think Jimmy Page used on the first Zeppelin album.
Okay.
So like with a Les Paul specifically, you kind of nail that tone. Am I allowed to play other people's guitar riffs, or are you gonna get in trouble for that?
Nope.
That sort of. That, I mean, and that's the highest gain stage I've got in terms of overdrives and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah. Or if you want to get really guitar-y.
Put that Pog on.
With the Pog on? Yeah.
Very nice.
It's pretty fat.
That is a nice combo.
I love it.
Awesome. Give yourself a shameless plug.
Yeah, my shameless plug. Actually, today's the day of St. Jude Up Till Dawn. If you go to my Bandcamp, which is tommykessler.bandcamp.com, there's an album called Perugia that I released in October that all the money, even after Up Till Dawn, is going to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And then I'm also on SoundCloud and Twitter.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm Jason Saitta. We'll see you next time.